One thing I find in Italy, and I've been there once before, you have to say buongiorno. You have to say good morning. They won't talk to you. You won't get your order. They won't give you directions if you don't say buongiorno. And I made the mistake of not doing that, and I asked for directions, and she goes, buongiorno? And I said, I'm sorry. And then I said, buongiorno. If you go to Paris, go to France, you go to England, even in England, you've got to say good morning in whatever language it is, or people won't even hardly talk to you or won't talk to you at all. And it's a skill that we're losing. Of course, in politics, we definitely don't do that anymore. But really, in greater society, go to the store, nobody says good morning or how are you doing or any of that anymore. But you're training our kids to be the new citizens that will respond that way. Because handshake in business is what we do. That's what Americans do. We shake hands. All right, so what do we do when we get them in the classroom? Oh my gosh. You never start the class, folks. That starts the class. Whatever you have on your slide, whatever your routine is in the Chromebook, don't start your class. All right, guys, come on, let's get back. Come on now, you're spending 5 minutes getting to class and they're milling about. Really? They're at the desk. You've trained. I'm going to show you some techniques that I use to get kids. They come in, they sit down, they're looking at your overhead or they're in their computer. For me, they do both. And get started. This is called a strong start. It's a talk video, but this video is so good that it is worth listening to, and I've listened to it like 10 times. And then we'll get into strong start. How do you get them from in the classroom to starting to work without you doing anything?
Technique 29, do now. Oh boy, this is a great one. Why do you never see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're so good at it. Your students should never have to ask themselves, what am I supposed to be doing when they enter your classroom? Nor should they be able to claim to not know what they should be doing. You want students to know what to do and to know there is no ambiguity here. Those two goals, being clear with students about what to be working on and eliminating the excuses that lead to distractions, are the rationale for Do Now. Do Now is a short activity that you have written on the board or is waiting at their desks before they enter. The Do Now means that students are hard at work even before you have fully entered the room. As soon as they enter the classroom, they start the Do Now. This is directly following the entry routine. Students begin the Do Now as soon as they enter the classroom. So, they are both productive during every minute and ready for instruction as soon as you start. Do Now ensures that they have done the anticipatory set and are thinking about what's coming next. An effective Do Now, which can bring incredible learning power to a room, should conform to 4 critical criteria to ensure that it remains focused, efficient, and effective. The first criteria of an effective Do Now is that it should be able to be completed without any direction from the teacher and without any discussion with their classmates. The second criteria is that it should only take 3 to 5 minutes to complete. You don't want this stretching into your instruction time. Criteria number 3 is that the activity should require putting a pencil to paper. That is, there should be a written product from it. This written product allows you not only to make it more rigorous and more engaging, but it allows you to better hold students accountable, because you can clearly see whether they are doing it or not. Criteria 4 is to remember that it needs to be task-oriented. This is not something just for bells and whistles. The activity should preview the day's lesson, or at the very least, review a recent lesson. The Do Now technique works, and it works because of its consistency and because of your preparation. Teacher, I didn't know what to do. Students can say this if there isn't a Do Now in the same place every single day, because then students can claim plausible deniability. It doesn't matter where you place the Do Now. It could be on the board, it could be on the student's desk, it could be a PowerPoint slide. The main point is that it needs to be in the same place at the same time every day. What this does is it saves you precious moments when you would otherwise be transcribing the do now on the board. And you can use this time to interact with students and give the students who are struggling with the do now a little assistance. This technique works really great when you're a stationary teacher and students are coming to you, like in a homeroom classroom or a specialized art class or English zone. However, I think even traveling teachers can use this technique effectively. A lot of times I feel pressured to get myself prepared and settled into a classroom as quickly as possible. And I want to jump right into teaching before I'm actually ready. A do now task allows the students to prepare themselves and gives you a few minutes to settle down into the new homeroom class or whatever atmosphere you're going into. Try it, see how it goes.
So there's tips in there for the traveling teachers as well. Traveling teachers, you have to be creative. You have to think of it as, what can I have them do that would work? It has to be a routine that you build that students can actually demonstrate every single day. And you have to look at it from your point of view. What would you want if you're the student and you've got to wait for that teacher to come? What would be the procedures you think makes the most sense? Right, when they talked about putting up the warm-up, where you put it and how you do it is up to you, but be consistent with it. For me, it's always on the slide, and they're always getting into their Google Chromebook. They know that routine. Again, singing the same song the same way every single class period.